Hi, I'm Luna Shimada, and welcome to the Loops DVD Volume 1. In this DVD, we are featuring world-renowned magician Finn Jon from Norway. He is a master, mentor, and genius in the field of animation and levitation. He is also the inventor of the elastic invisible loop. Finn Jon has had a career that has spanned over 50 years, and he has been on television all over the world, as well as been a winner of FISM, and he has inspired magicians everywhere. He's going to share some of his most impeccable effects with the loop on this DVD, as well as his ideas, tips, and philosophy in magic. So let's get started with the art of the loop.
Maybe I will play the piano for you.
Oh, good.
But
Can't
wait. Yeah, no, that's something. But I like to show you something completely different. Something else.
What?
You will see. Have you got anything? Have you got a dollar bill? Or
I think so.
Whatever, it doesn't matter. You know, you will see if it works.
Does it have to be $1? 50 is okay?
It's okay. Look, if I drop this like that, you know, it goes against China. Because China is, it's true. And they say, yes, it's true, but because China is there.
Right.
It goes down to China. But
Right.
if you was in China and you had a dollar bill and you stand in China, it would go down to America. Now you have to think.
Yeah.
It would go up, you know? Look here.
Anything you say.
Down to China.
Right.
And in my mind, I am in China.
Okay.
You know?
Gotcha.
I'm in
So,
China.
and then, boop.
Oh, wow. No way. So you do that again.
Yeah.
What's that?
Again,
Oh.
Wow.
That's what.
China.
That's my bill.
look,
That's me.
maybe
I can get back.
I could give it back, but I could show you something else, but I'm not sure. Let it be there, you know, just let it be there. Maybe, you know, maybe. Because now, look here, I'll show you something. But look here.
Oh, bubble.
It burst, you saw that?
Yeah.
But if it shouldn't burst, I have to do the magic, you know? And I said, I don't touch it because it burst. I don't have to touch it.
my
You know, it's not touching. It could be the heat, you know.
Wow.
It could,
Keep it up like that.
no,
It's
but look
amazing.
here. And
Oh.
it's two inside. You see
Two
that?
inside.
Yes. You see that?
Oh my gosh.
And took.
Oh. There's still one. Oh my goodness. Wow.
Yes. Now, for you, only for you. I
Oh.
tried. I tried. Look here.
There we go.
Ooh.
It's a ring.
Oh.
What?
My finger.
Look now.
Big bubble.
No, but look.
Wow.
Wow.
That's Can I touch it? There it goes.
You see?
Wow.
And this bubble will come down. I'm sure. What's coming up has to fall down. Look.
Right. Oh my gosh.
Huh? Pop.
Oh.
Can you put me inside that bubble?
Well,
He needs a big bubble.
you know, maybe I could have. But
Can you blow me?
the thing is, what I could do, I could take this money, you know, I could go like this.
We did not know that.
Whoa, whoa, he's
Wow.
smoking the money.
Money to burn.
Literally.
You see? But I will try an experiment with your money, you know?
Oh,
Look,
yeah,
tell me.
yeah.
No,
I must concentrate. Look.
Okay.
Oh, babe. Wow.
You see? Huh?
Wow.
You just-
Hmm?
That's
Looks
great.
like oil.
Don't, if you touch it, it breaks. But you
Oh.
see that? I don't touch it, it don't break. You see that? That's it.
Magic
It's
hand.
yeah. Well.
And
Anyway,
where's the smoke coming from?
the smoke. I'm a non-smoker.
Yeah, right.
In Norway, I must be the non-smoker that smokes the most. I'm thinking of that, because I go to a place and say, no smoking, restaurants, and I take a spoon or a knife, Have you got something? Let's say, for a lighter. This could be a spoon, and I go,
You can smoke anything.
Oh, I bet they love you.
And they say, there is no smoking here. I say, I don't smoke, I produce smoke. You see, that's a big difference. I'm a magician. Well. When it comes to magic, children, they like magic, They love it. And some other love it if you have a little child in you. Because normally, girls don't like it. But I will show you something that looks like magic. Look. I saw you had cigarette. I don't know if you're smoking, but I saw it. Look, if I put the cigarette, I don't touch it, and do that with your finger. Yeah. One more. Take 2 fingers. 3. Yes. You saw that? But no. With that finger, say come. I put it there. You say come.
Come.
Yes, you see, it goes to you. Wow. It looks like magic, but it's not magic, man. It's so simple. Anybody can do it. And normally magicians don't want to give secrets away, But in this occasion, I will show you. Yeah, you want to do it?
I want to learn.
You want to
Will you
learn
show
it?
me?
Yes, I can.
Yeah, I want to
Look,
see.
yeah. The thing is, when she was doing this with her fingers, I did the dirty work, as we call it. Because I was standing here, and I blow, and the cigarette goes.
Okay, but
So this way, yeah. I cannot do that, but I blow at the bottle because the wind goes there and it pushes the cigarette. You see here? You look at that? You see, I blow there. Well, give it a little some, and it goes.
okay.
You see what I mean? Sometimes you have bottles like that standing sometimes, and then you say, come, direct. It's like that. But if you have been professional people, I have to impress them, with something different, Oh, I know that I know. But look here, I would put the cigarette like that, and I will say to you, make it up, go. Yeah, what? With 2 hands. Up.
Whoa.
You saw that?
It's Jon.
Oh my God!
Yes.
Wow.
It's fantastic, Yeah. Sometimes I try this, I take an object, not all a cigarette, but it could work with a cigarette, and I'm singing. It's so bad, but it's a special frequency. Look here. I go like this. Look here. I hold it. No one. You know,
Wow.
it stays.
How do you do that?
Well, how I do it? Told you many things now, but that's it.
Right,
Yes,
right.
it's marble like it has to be. Yes. Sorry, but anyway,
That's a drink on me.
yes.
And me?
Yeah. You want one?
I want one.
Give her one.
2 drinks.
Yes.
Another trick.
Maybe, yeah.
Another drink.
Another
give
drink,
me any.
another
No,
drink.
last time. Give me anything you have here, not a bottle, but give me something you have in your pocket or whatever. We'll try.
Glass, cell phone, knife.
And then I have to call a friend. I don't have to open it. I just. Hello? You are there? Very good. That's a joke, man. I could try the knife better,
Watch out.
but I'm not really sure. Look here. You see here. Yeah. Put your finger, don't touch it, but I just do that. Put your finger over it. Oh, higher. So, high. Look. It's like,
Whoa!
yeah. It's like you
Oh,
doing
God.
magic. You see? Because when a woman do that, it's stand up like that, and I
Wow.
give it back to you.
I'm afraid of this knife.
No, it's for the lady.
Thank you.
So now you're a magician.
Hi, I'm Luna Shimada. Welcome to the Loops DVD Volume 1. I'm sitting here with Finn Jon, the consummate specialist in the field of levitation. And we also have a special guest with us, Yigal Masika. I bet you have a lot of questions about the loop, so we're going to just have a little jam session here, and hopefully we'll answer some of those questions. Hi, you guys. How are you?
Great.
Cool. So I guess there's a lot of things that people would like to know about you personally, Finn. So let's just kind of go into a little background
Well,
with you.
well-
I mean, how did you get into magic, for instance?
But professional or doing magic?
Yeah.
I did magic even before I was 10 years.
Right. So how long has
Yeah.
your career spanned?
Professional.
Professional career.
Yes, I started.
You started when you've been 10. I guess it's what, 30 years? Right? Something
No,
like that?
it's a lifetime. It's, let's say, professional for 50 years.
There you go.
So then, that's a long time.
Yeah.
So around 20s, I quit my real business. You know what I was doing? People
No.
look at me. I don't think it's funny. I was a plumber.
He
and-
told me that the other night. I couldn't believe
it's
it.
nothing funny with that. And I was doing, and I was, but little in Norway, cold. I'm Norwegian, you know.
Yes.
Freezing. My hand was stiff, and I didn't like to touch these icy pipes and things.
yeah.
So, anyway, I tried. I come home. I was sitting like that to be smooth, you know. So, but anyway, after 7 years, I quit, and I was professional. It was better for me.
So, but why magic? I mean, what got you started on magic? Did you see somebody perform magic? Is
Yes,
that
as a boy, I was
a boy you were
interested.
in?
Yeah.
Okay.
We had a big magician in Norway. After he worked theaters, it was only one. He was great in many respects. I still say when I talk with Norwegian, he was the best. He's the best
Do you
magician.
remember his name?
Arnardo. He could barely not shuffle a pack of cards. He was a big, huge guy. But when people saw him, and you ask people now, did you see Arnardo? Yes. They all believed he was real.
Yeah.
He had the power, and he looks like he had the power. And that's I don't look like him at all, but I know him, I know him, and Arnardo was
So it was
great.
the first
becau-
magician that you saw.
Yeah,
So you
well,
started doing magic after you saw him, and
In a way, I was
just
very
dabbling
much.
with it as a child
Yeah,
and through
yeah.
your teenage years. and-
Well, I was influenced. I never tried
You
to
were
copy him.
influenced, right.
Impossible. You couldn't copy
So
a guy.
when did you make the transition from, playing with magic to deciding to become a professional magician? How did that happen?
It goes step by step,
Yeah.
really, little by little. It's like the other day I was asked about the invisible loop,
Yeah.
and I said I had it 60 years back. No, that's not possible.
Oh yeah, tell us about that.
No,
Tell us
I
how
had
you
it.
came up with that idea.
But it was not elastic. Then I learned to do good magic,
Mm-hmm.
whatever. You need something, not necessarily a thread, but something invisible.
Yes.
I said, it must be invisible. And then you have a magnet's force. You do things with the magnet under the table or in your jacket. Something moving or whatever. It's invisible. You cannot see the force. And the thread, when it's invisible, you do miracles.
Right.
Beautiful miracles. If they see and spot the thread, you kill the miracles. So it must be invisible. And then
Invisible system, yeah.
yes, but then comes, I don't say you do big magic, but if you move an object and you could blow, somebody had fooled the whole world by blowing through their nose. Like that, and thing moves on the table.
Right. So
The wind is invisible.
Yeah,
That's
it
it.
is.
Invisible is the answer.
So would you say that levitation was just animating and levitating things was the thing that really
Yeah.
you got hooked on that particular aspect of magic?
Yes,
That
yes,
for you
yes.
was so visual and so magical to be
Yeah.
able to have that power to be able to do that, right?
Well, yeah, you are right.
Yeah.
But imagine I don't have, but a thread was so thin, and you
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
can't see.
I
It's
know.
spider web. You couldn't
I
see
know.
it.
How did you come up with the idea
No.
to tie something like that? I mean, it's
Yes.
impossible.
But
I've
the-
tried. But
Maybe
you
I
found a
don't-
way to do that.
I don't know.
How
I
did
said
you-
I had a loop. I had to carry the loop, so I took it around my neck.
Yeah.
50 years back, a
Right.
thread.
And so you were just
So,
doing it like that.
Then I don't know where it was,
Well, it
but
obviously
when I
evolved,
found this
yeah.
very thin elastic,
Yeah.
I smelled this could be used. I didn't know what was coming out of it. And today, and with you, my God, it's growing. But
Yes.
the first loop I made, I said, it's logic, I had to carry it.
Yeah.
And I had that loop around my neck as a young boy. And now I try to make a loop of this little elastic. And I tell you, that was something. You have a piece of elastic, how can you make? Anyway, I made a loop.
Yeah.
Eventually, sitting in the hotel room, I play with that. And now I put it around my hand. I say, I go out, I have a loop.
Yeah.
I didn't know what to do with it. And then it starts, well, what can you do? Well, you can move something. I remember I had a glass on the table. I'd never do it, but standing very well. I had, and I said, oh, I touch it, and it falls.
Yeah.
And the loop goes back.
Goes back.
And the people say, how do you do that? There's so many things to say about magic. First of all, here, you have black background, it's a nice table, everything looks sort of nice. For my type of magic, it's the worst. If you work with a thread, they will see it against black. You think, no, black background is good. No, it's not. I used to say that in the night, you see all the stars, but in the daytime, when the sky is light up with blue or white, they disappear. And when it's a thread work, you will see the reflection of the spotlights from here against black. So it's not good. But anyway, I will try to tell you a little bit about thread because I just showed you some tricks. At the piano bar, I was doing bubbles. Look, I tell you that first. Look, I had a bubble. I went like this because a bubble floats, but normally it breaks, you see, at my hand. Then I take a loop, invisible loop here. You don't see it, but later I show you. Look, and then I go like that. Now you'll see. But it should stay there. You see? It doesn't matter if it breaks because it's a new one here. Look. So I can go and make many. You see? So that is bubble. Now, suppose I want to blow smoke into the bubble, you know? I could, at the bar, at the table like that, I'm not a smoker, but look here. It's another stuff. Look here. In this case, I have the cigarette or the small cigar outside because now I pretend that is normal. But if I work in an elegant nightclub, for instance, you know, I would light my cigar like this. And I'm smoking. I'm not holding the cigarette. But it gets hotter, not so good, but that's sort of nice. And with the loop, with the thread, I will now plan it to come here. And I hold it. Not too long, but now watch. I put them there. because that was no. You know what to do? It's not a mystery. I explain it. I have this invisible loop around my finger. It's going from there to there. And if somebody should grab my hand in a bar and say, you have something in my pop, next minute it is there. Look, I have this to show you. If you have a loop there, it's very easy to put it there. You blow a bubble and then the bubble stays on the loop, because otherwise it could fall in my hand and it burst. So the loop can be used for many things, not only levitation, but you will see something else. For instance, you ask for a cigarette. I could make that float, but I say, look, I don't want to do that. With my voice, I can do this. Look, like that. And that's also levitation. This is a stupid sound, nothing to do with it, but you have to camouflating what you're doing. And in that case, I have saw one actually here. What was it? He put a cigarette, not like that, but I teased him and he couldn't, so he went around the pub and said, it's floating, it's floating, it's floating. And I think it's wrong. You have to camouflage levitation. So, to make it clear, it exists two kind of loops, the small loops or the long. But the long one, I just twist. So now this is short. And when it's short, like that, it can be even like that, and I could take a cigarette. But that cigarette will break because it's strong. Then it will have this is not a cigarette, it stays between. It's a silly thing, but like that. Imagine that is invisible, that is a cigarette, the sound, and it floats. Then I have another effect. You remember I was doing a dollar bill jumping. If I want this to jump, I need a longer loop. And a longer, it will be like this. And I have it around my hand, sometimes there, sometimes there. And you see here, it's more, I don't know if you see it, but that's thick. I thought that could be good for explanation. But if I take this, it is too strong because I cannot hook, and I have bent the corner of this dollar bill a little bit, so I hook up the loop and zap, and it jump. The small loop is still there. I have done these tricks with a small, but I cannot stretch it. So, but the effect is this. You see, this is a small loop, but it still works. So you have to use whatever you have, but I prefer a long one. But that is the loop, and it goes back on my two fingers. But now is a metal. It's the open letter. Look at that. I touch my hand, and I can touch there, between there, over the hand. I can put the hand away on the table. And I look at it, it's many ways to do. In this case, I do this. Sometimes it's different. You saw that? It gives away a sort of what you call energy. You know, when I hold my hands like that, look here, like that, I'm building energy. Sometimes on the carpet I do this, you know, and I take steel things, you know, and I try again, like that, you know. I will tell you what's happened, but in this case, I'm performing. Look here. I put a hand there. And yes, now it bends. You see that? It bends. And I said, you can look, you give it away. What was that? Well, this video is a lot about invisible loop. What you can do with the invisible loop. I bend this knife, I have made it myself, it's a meter. So I have made a knife. I put also some tape here so it's not so sharp. Wood is nothing mysterious with it. It's just like, you see, metal. Yes, it's metal. Like that. But to bend it, I use the loop. In this case, I was not so happy, but I didn't want to stop the tape because the loop was small and it went off my finger. So I took another loop. I have another loop. So when you work professionally, I sometimes I have a loop even here. There is one. You see, you don't see it, but I have a loop there. Nobody stopped me for that. So if that breaks and I have a loop there, I could go under there. I forgot it, but and I would do look like that, tack, tack, and it bends. It's another loop. So loops is very practical. You can put them. I haven't done one there, and one there. When you go out professionally, nothing, just loops. See what I mean? I don't do it, but I could put even a card in the loops, like not a cigarette, you know, like that. And I say, look, and the card is floating. I don't like it too much, but you can do it if you are a card man. With a loop, you do many things, I tell you. So, think about that. You must think of the method, but it is the effect that counts, not the method. That's your secret. Thank you.
I find that when you're inventing something or you're playing around with something, sometimes the best effects come from an accident even.
Sometimes.
You know?
Yes.
So you're trying something and then something else happens and it gives you an idea to move in that direction.
Right.
A lot of times, like you said, with the elastic, well, this has potential.
Yeah.
What kind of potential, I don't know, but at least, you know, you had the creativity and the insight to actually do something with it and see what the possibilities are. What got you interested in loops? I mean, what was the thing that just like grabbed you about that particular thing?
That was a long, long time ago, like about maybe 15 years ago. One friend of mine gave me a videotape, one of the first explanation DVDs, video that I saw, and fortunately I saw Finn Jon, and I was amazed by his magic. It was like real magic to me. All what he does, he uses normal objects, and he has that kind of style of a mellow guy, very relaxed, and suddenly he did a jumping dollar bill.
Right.
And then he did a floating dollar bill, and I was like, "Wow, how does he do that?"
Yeah.
And my English wasn't that good, you know, back then, 15 years ago, because I'm from Israel, and we don't speak much English over there.
You
So
don't?
I look at it, kind of, you
I'm
know.
just kidding.
So I look at the effect, the floating dollar bill, and I try to figure out how he does it, and I couldn't because he forgot to explain with a rubber band what is the setup. No. My English was broken English.
Right. See,
And
you're
I'm
not
like, how
visually-
is he do that? How the dollar bill stay on the loop? I even didn't know what's a loop.
Yeah.
And all the rest is history. And when I got into it, you know, it was amazing. It's still today one of my favorite effects because you
That's
just
great.
ask for any object or a dollar bill, and you instantly create a visual miracle, visual eye impact magic to people, and it seems like it's happening out of the bloom. It doesn't
Right.
seem like you have any setup.
What do you think are the strongest effects that you've ever performed with?
With the
This particular-
loops.
Yeah, with
With the
loops.
loops.
Yeah.
It's difficult because when you say strong effect, I have to tell you.
I mean, they're all strong effects to me,
no,
it seems.
It's look.
You know, but-
My opinion is that you can do a strong effect. Let's say in a party, in private, you know.
Yes.
But then it's not that strong on the stage. You can do it, you know what I mean? And to make a strong effect, it depends on the situation.
Right.
It's not a trick. You cannot say that's a strong trick.
Yeah.
It's the situation. You know what
It's
I mean?
the vibe. It's
That's
like
right.
And
That's right.
if I go, let's say, if I'm invited in Norway to a party, I'm not invited to do magic, but maybe they know I'm doing magic, but I don't do it, you know, even if you're a comedian, you don't necessarily stand up and do your act. But I put a loop here and there, maybe I have some, just like, maybe.
You're always
but I
prepared.
don't,
You're
I like
always-
to be prepared. And I'm sitting with a woman like this, you know?
Yes.
And she could ask, what are you doing for a living? I said, yeah, blah, blah, blah. I used to be a plumber. Oh, yeah, blah, blah. Now I'm doing, magic. And then I could say to you, I have some electricity in my body, very useful for a magician. Say what? And I could touch you. I don't touch you, I would say, you know.
Yeah.
I do like that. I have my loop, you know. Yeah, I didn't know, but I have one here. I never done for you. I say, I will not touch you. Like, could you feel? Yeah. You feel it?
Yes.
And I say, I will not touch you. And I go like that, you know. And say, oh, on my nose. Yeah, it's my power.
Yeah.
I don't do magic, but it's a nice conversation, and it's my trick.
Yeah.
It's not.
Magic.
It's not
Right,
the
and they
magic,
don't-
but it is magic.
Exactly. And I
Imagine,
love that
imagine
kind
what
of
would
magic.
happen if he is really touching you, know?
That's something. No, but you see, but on a,
I was told to keep this interview clean. So
Yeah,
okay.
but on a
Lysander will
stage,
get really
you
mad if
agree to ask somebody to come and just do that. It's not that strong. But in a private party, like it is just coming out of the.
It's,
then
yeah,
it-
we've been talking about that on volume 3, which
Right.
is
Yes.
how to create the right vibe or the right situation.
Yes.
And sometime, let's say the hunted pack, it's beautiful effect, but maybe it won't be, you know, good in a very
it's a type of effect that requires some focus and
yeah. If there is a vibe of mystery and some
Yes.
candles and
Right.
a little bit, you know, dark location, it's give you two benefits. One,
Right.
people don't see the thread because it's a little bit dark, and second, they just get inside the atmosphere of the
Right.
deck moving, and it's like, wow, how does he do that? So you have all the setup right there.
Well, speaking of vibe, I mean, it seems to me like the loop is just so versatile, and even though it's a gimmick that you invented so many years ago, I think that for a long time, it kind of fell out of the consciousness of magicians.
Yeah.
For a long time, people
Yeah.
just magicians didn't really focus on it, and use it so much for
No,
many years
no,
because
no.
it's. You know, it takes a little getting used to handling.
Yes.
Not everybody has the sensitivity
No.
to touch
No.
and feel the invisible thread. But then all of a sudden, you know, it just started getting so popular because of its practicality and because it's so self-contained.
Yeah.
It is one of the few thread systems that I can work with, and it, you know, and the breakage factor is so much better than working with a regular invisible thread. That's why this gimmick is just so practical and so powerful for, you know, to be in the magician's arsenal now.
yeah.
Because like you were saying earlier, it's invisible, it's always on you, you're always prepared to do
Yeah.
incredible magic.
Yeah.
Now, my question is, have you ever been caught using the loop in certain situations? Do you have any stories to share with us about that? You know, like what are the pros and what are the, I mean, we know what the pros obviously of using this gimmick is, but what are the cons? I mean, are there any disadvantages or
yes, but
breakage
if
factors, you know?
of course,
things-
before, go years back, I didn't have the experience, you know. So you take up the loop and maybe they could see it. And little by little, I learned that the lightning and the background, if I have a black suit like you have now, I know you will see, and I have a loop between my hands, you will see it, you know.
The reflection,
So
yes.
I learned by the years. So now it's many answer. It's first, I'm more prepared. Let's say not white, but a light background, and I look automatically. I know, oh, is where the light is. And in the worst cases, you see, to give an example, I don't, for many reasons, I used to do a dollar bill or whatever, floating. Oh,
Yeah.
but then I saw, even if you didn't see the thread, people, where is the?
They're looking
They're
for
looking
the
for
hookup.
the thread.
Yeah.
But if I take do another tricks now,
Yes.
But with the dollar bill, if you float the dollar bill only for 2 seconds,
yeah,
Yeah.
then they can't have
and
time.
then they don't believe is it wasn't floating or it isn't, you give him that kind of feeling and you
Right.
stop. You don't go like, oh, the dollar bill floating.
no.
Right.
But also the dollar bill cover half of the loop, so
Yes,
people don't
yes,
see,
yes.
you know, the thread.
And then in
when you
front
cover
of-
with the body,
Yes, you cover it.
and you create a
Yeah.
miracle, but it's only 1 second or 2
Yeah.
seconds.
Yeah, yeah.
And usually when I take the bill, I just put it under a glass
Yes.
or under something, so it seems like, oh, now it doesn't go away.
It's all in the presentation and the motivation behind the effect that makes it strong.
But
so
if-
basically, the
yes.
disadvantages or the cons of
Yeah.
this gimmick is is obviously, because it's thread, you got to be conscious of lighting.
Yeah.
You got to be conscious of background.
Yeah.
And you've got to really practice and develop that sensitivity of working with that elastic loop. You got to know exactly where your tension point is too.
Yeah.
Exactly.
With the
But
break, you know.
I have to say, over the years, I did this and this and that, and I stopped doing it
Yeah.
because even the effect is less. It's more the word.
Yeah.
I mean, in magic, it's a big field. Some in one man's hand is a miracle, and then it's a, let's say, a young boy. He's 10 years old. You cannot
Yeah.
just give him a loop.
No.
He will stay, like that. He's floating. But if he has the presence and people believe what he says, it can be a miracle. And so the presentation goes very much together with the loops.
Right.
You know what? Not when you do it, what you say. And it's a half of it, or maybe more. And we cannot forget that, because by a loop, put it there and say, look here,
Yeah.
it flows. And you say, you must have a thread or something.
Right.
But if he does it, oh, you saw that?
Yeah.
Tuck, tuck. And it
Now,
can be strong.
what about kids? You told me once that children are very perceptive because
Oh,
they
yes.
watch magic
Yeah.
differently than adults do.
Yes.
You know,
Many
they
of
have a more heightened sense of awareness.
Mm.
Share with us that story that you told us about the little girl that that.
Well, so many stories. I do
Yeah.
actually a lot of kid stuff.
Well, tell me about performing the loop with kids.
Yes, I like to.
Because I'm sure there are a lot of
perform
magicians
for,
that
for
work
it's
for
a
children.
challenge.
Yeah.
It's a challenge. But of course, when you say he's a kid magician, well, this is not what you asked. But I was
Yes.
doing a cruise ship, and all the small kids, they had brothers. They had seen the 12 years or 14 years, so they was to see the show, grown-up show. And they say, I saw the real magician. I saw the real, because they have a kid magician on the ship.
Okay.
So I had to do a show for the kids. And he said, can't you work for the children? Okay. So you work for the children. But there is another philosophy. I cannot go into that. But
Right.
they're sitting innocent, but they have very good eyes.
Yeah.
So they could see a thread you wouldn't see. Oh, it's a thread. And whatever you say, it's like they don't listen.
They're not distracted.
No.
They're not as easy to misdirect.
Very difficult.
Right. Yeah.
For you, I take something and I look at that, and you look. But
Yeah.
the kid, he
And
look
the
at the
kid
other.
looks right at the other
Yes.
end.
I mean that's
What I
but
find,
know,
yeah.
yeah. But I know it now.
For me, what I find out with kids, for some reason they think simply.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I mean naturally.
Yeah.
Yes.
Adults usually think complicated. You know, maybe it's physics, maybe it's magnet. Kids don't know about that stuff, so they think so simple. And magic is when you know how it's done. You
What
go
it
like,
is is
how
what it
did
is, yeah.
how I didn't think of that? You know, it's just a piece of thread. So I did one time the hunted pack for a kid, and that's how I come up with the reaction, the philosophy about the reaction, because I did a deck, and the reaction of the adults was amazing. And about maybe 7 years old child came over and he goes like that, and he catch my thread. And I was like, he didn't even see the thread. I did it on the carpet.
Yeah.
The texture was perfect, the vibe was great. But he was a child who saw the deck moves and he just felt
Yeah.
there is something that attached.
Yes.
So he
Typical.
thought so simply that the other people didn't think that way.
Of course, if you are working with loops
But-
or threads,
yes.
there is one thing. It will always bother you.
Yes.
Is to say when can they see? Can they see it or not see? You know, the
Yeah.
effect is dead if they see.
Do you think I
They
haven't-
shouldn't see it?
Here, this is what I was wondering. Do you think that if you're guilty about it, like if you can see the thread and you're guilty about it, then that, of course, makes, I don't know, makes the audience sort of sense or feel uncomfortable about it? I mean, oftentimes,
again-
like when I watch magicians working with threads, because I'm a magician and I know where to look,
yeah.
I can see it. I can see it every time.
Uh-huh.
You know, and I often wonder, because it's so obvious to me, if
Yeah.
anybody else, obviously nobody else can see it.
On volume 3, we cover all of those, details.
Right,
Yeah,
okay.
yes.
And
all
we
right.
fin
'Cause
as a
that's-
lifetime experience with invisible
Right.
thread.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
he-
And we give so much great idea
That's
about
good.
light condition,
Now-
about how to eliminate the suspect, how to cover your shadow
Great.
as a
Yes,
backup.
it's a lot. We talk a lot
And-
Well,
about
so
it.
volume
It
3
was-
is definitely
yeah.
something that,
And he told me stories
that-
like how he has difficulty time, back maybe 30 years ago when he did the shows in clubs. and the lights was so reflective that he couldn't do nothing about it.
Right.
And he didn't have any advice what to do. So with the years, you know, we solved those problems, and I came up with some different techniques, and we collaborate together, and we showed exactly
Okay.
what people
So
have
for
to do, you
somebody-
know.
So for somebody who's really interested in expanding and progressing in this field, the Volume 3 is a necessity, I would say. To
I
get
believe
all
so.
that information. But what kind of advice can you give to people who want to really work with threads and master the loop psychologically, not technically?
yeah,
But
yeah.
what kind of mentality or psychology do they need to
Yeah.
have that sort of to develop that
Yes.
sensitivity to working with threads?
Well, so I once, long time ago in Paris, I made a book about threads. You can do this with threads and this and this. So I'm not advertising that book. I haven't seen
Right.
it for years.
Yeah.
But there was so many effects with loops. But I would say to anybody, you don't need to do them all. You couldn't make them all. But by looking at that, you say, I will do that. If
Yeah.
I come, I make a dollar flight, or the dollar floats, or I make soap bubbles in my act from there and there. It's the loop. But there are many things I could do with loop, but I don't want to do it, and I cannot do it
Yeah.
really. If you're
Yes.
starting from the scratch,
Yeah.
you don't know what can I do with this loop and what. I will say you have to read many, and then you pick 2 or 3 effects that you like,
And just keep
and
doing
you
them.
do, and then you practice that. You buy, oh, it break, and it break. So I said to one guy, it didn't break. You break it. I told him.
Yeah.
And it's a big difference.
Yes.
Because if you have something, I can't work with trade because they breaks. I say, yeah, it's okay.
That's because you break it.
them. And it's true. Because
Yeah.
if I have a loop there,
Yes.
it can stretch it to this.
Yes.
But if I go there, it breaks.
Yeah.
Of course.
Naturally.
But then if I want to climb out of the window with a thick rope, if it's not strong enough, it breaks. You know, it's easy like that.
It's just common sense,
Yes.
isn't it?
So
Yeah.
you break it,
Yeah.
but little by little you don't. So you take it softly and you put it back on the paper gimmick or whatever you have for it.
Mm-hmm.
I use an envelope. It's there, and I think again and I take it, and I put when I work professionally.
Yeah.
I one loop there, one there, and one there and there, and I
Yes.
go into the room and I see. I look at the lights, at the conditions, and this, and I start with just the moving. Maybe a girl touch her, it's not so big. Oh, blah, blah, blah. And they laugh, and I see, I catch the loop,
Yeah.
and I say, have you got a dollar bill? Yes. Da, da, da.
Yes.
And I go to the table, and it
Yeah.
floats differently, but not long.
Yeah.
Oh, it floats, yes. Oh,
Yeah.
3 seconds. That's the longest
That's the
I've
longest you
seen.
went, yeah.
Ba, 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 and so on. I couldn't do it, but
Yeah.
we all have the way, but in the beginning I was overdoing it,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And I think if you start with loops, you overdo it, and they will say,
Yeah.
home, your wife, oh, it's okay, I know you have a loop, whatever you do. But if you are little by little, it becomes better and better.
Yeah.
It's like an instrument. You are not so very good first time you pick up a violin.
Right.
It's very bad.
Yep.
Practice
But
like
you ends
anything
up-
else to master
I think it
it.
will be good tip to practice with maybe a sewing thread
Yeah.
to have the right size of a loop, which is about 10 inch.
Yeah.
And just let's say if someone want to do the
Or a
hunted
rubber
pack
band.
or moving objects like a fork, spoons,
Yeah.
so they can have the kind of feeling. What is it like? How far they can go?
Yeah.
And later on they can practice with the elastic loop. But basically, it's break on me too.
Yeah.
It's not. It's fragile. It can
Yeah.
break.
Right.
Yeah.
But as Finn says, they don't break with no reason. I mean, you can make the effect, and if it's break on you in the middle of the effect, that's okay. I mean, if you're moving a fork, I mean, where do you see power today? Miracles that people create.
Yeah.
Nobody create miracles
and
every
that's-
day.
yeah.
And magicians create that kind of impossible reality. And when they moving object, and if the loops break, that's okay. You know, sometimes you do maybe card tricks, and the double if people can see it, or something happening that doesn't work, then it can happen with any other magic. It's not
Yes.
only with thread.
No, 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 no.
And people
It
don't have to
always
take it, you know, too seriously. If something happens, just move to the next one.
And there's a guy in Norway, and I give him loops. We've been friends, and he don't do much magic, and he has a loop around there. Maybe he has an envelope, and he borrowed money, and he put. I never do it. I have tried. He put the money,
Yeah.
a bill is that, and he go like that, and and the bill start on the table, going like that, not floating,
Yeah.
but it stays like that, and because he move it with a thread. But he say every time he do that in a party, he break the thread. He don't put it back. He break, and say, look, you can wash my hands. And look, nothing, because the loops disappeared, you know, he break it. So next, but he's not a magician, he don't go to another table and he do it once. And
Wow.
he say, and he said, the loop, if it costs something, it's a cup of coffee.
I know.
and he break it. So he don't
tell you
care,
what's
Yeah.
he
happening.
break it.
Usually I do it when
I
I, do
don't
the
do that.
antet-pack. When
That's
I move
right.
the deck, it's so amazing, that moment, that
Yeah.
I don't want to touch the deck back.
No.
So I break the loop,
Yeah.
and I just leave it that way and let them pick the card.
Yeah.
And it's so amazing that it's worth
Sometimes
the glass
it's
of
worth
coffee
it.
that Finn talked
But
about,
that's
you know?
again, it's up to you. I don't like a pack of cards that are more expensive in Norway than here. But
Yeah.
I don't like to tear them and to fold them. But it's ruin the pack. I'm stupid, you know. So I don't want these tricks. But many magicians, they use a pack every day. They throw the cards away because it belongs, but it's paying acts, you know, not rich, but you think that's the thing you throw away. Magic is entertaining. I'm not it's not my character to be supernatural.
Yes.
I'm not I don't say I have supernatural power.
Well, thank you so much, Finn.
well-
This has just been an amazing talk, and I think that
Yeah, well.
we're all going to learn so much from this DVD.
And
Very
we will,
Sure.
we will go on talking
Yeah.
about threads and loops. Because it never ends, you know.